This week on Bros, Bibles, and Beer.
That's a boop too far. For me, it's not controversial to say you can have someone who actually displays fruits of the Spirit and is not a Christian.
I don't know what I believe about some of these doctrines, but I do believe in the mission of Christ, and I want to do that.
Mentally, they couldn't live with the cognitive dissonance. I actually can't live with my behavior, so I need to rewrite it in my head. We call it Zacking.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven.
Andy, you might be a partial preterist, if I'm being honest. Knowing what I know about you, the way you think about the Bible, you might be a partial preterist.
Yeah?
Who knows? We'll have to explore that together.
Yeah, you never know. Could be sneaking right around the corner.
I might be too old, though, for you to explore it with me.
We're doing it, gentlemen. We're back in the saddle.
And I have a camera.
And you have a camera now.
Prove
Yes.
it. Oh, you're proving
I proved it already.
I wasn't even looking.
Producer camera. That is,
I'm way ahead of you.
yeah. I love it. We've got producer camera.
Most people are.
Well, gentlemen, first of all, is it okay to talk about what we're drinking tonight?
Yeah, quick shout out, Docent Brewing Company.
All right.
I don't know why my voice got so high.
Oh, it's a delicious beer.
It's good.
This is the West Coast Pilsner, and it is delicious.
It is good.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
I went Letterkenny there for a minute.
Oh, I missed that show.
Dude,
I should start watching that again late night.
I know.
Put myself to sleep.
There's a point when I get too many episodes in a row deep that I just start feeling a little gross because it does get a little bit gross.
Yeah, of course.
But it is also a national treasure.
Have you consumed Letterkenny, Colin?
I can't say that I have.
You'd know if you had.
I haven't.
I don't even remember what network it was on or what streaming service, but
I think it's on Hulu. Yeah, it's on Hulu. Hey, it has been a very eventful week, but before we dive into maybe some of the events of the week, I thought it'd be cool if we dive into a couple of comments. We usually save feedback for the end, but
and maybe we'll read a couple heavies at the end, but there's one that actually Colin. So last episode, Dave Ritchie was on the ones and zeros. Today you are, but the one before Dave Ritchie, you were on
ones and twos.
You got that too.
Yeah.
You didn't let me finish, Andy.
Producers are ones and twos. Computers are ones and zeros, which is confusing.
He's holding a computer.
That's true. You're on the ones, twos, zeros. Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
Nope. That's all good. You're actually technically, factually correct. I just got fact checked in real time, and I'll take it. I received that gracefully.
We're a podcast of truth.
That's right. Colin got called up.
Here we go.
But before you get to
by
Colin,
name, okay.
Before you get to that, let's hit up Arthur's.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got that one queued up because I think Colin has the other one. Arthur M. Pena. I think he mentioned, what was it he mentioned? I should have had the previous one.
What did he say?
It was related to Candace Owens and Zionism versus Jewish people, I think was his. And if that's not the case, I'm sorry, Arthur. But he said, thanks for responding to my previous comments on the Kirk episode, by the way. I would respond to your responses, but won't. I like the way you continue to ponder things, and I trust that process. I'm going to go ahead and heart that right now.
Oh, real time hard.
Hit the drop.
Yeah, this is when we started hearted. Thank you, Arthur. I love the comments. This is we always say it every time, but that is one of my favorite parts of being on YouTube is that we get some interaction with listeners, viewers, and whatnot. That's good. But that wasn't the one. You lost. Did you lose the one?
No, Colin's got the one.
I have it. But you want to
Colin got direct listener feedback.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in just a moment. I want you guys to guess. The newest analytics on our YouTube audience are a relatively young and humble YouTube channel that is growing slowly but surely.
This feels like inside baseball.
Demographic, the highest aged demographic, 25-34, 35-44, 45-54, 55-64, 65 plus.
65 plus.
Whoa, how dare you. Jeff doesn't have like a bot farm set up, does he? Love you, Jeff.
I'm just talking about our parents.
Oh, that's funny.
No, 35 to 44, 25%, 22% is 25 to 34. Nobody in the 13 to 17-year-old range, which is probably good.
That's good. Why are you telling us this?
I don't know. It's fun.
Oh,
And get my kids to start listening.
Yeah,
Almost
that'll work.
14%.
we got to get those numbers up.
That's right.
65 plus is 13.5. Guess the male to female, and then we'll move on.
80% male. No, 90% male.
Colin, you got to guess?
I'll go with 70% male.
76% male, 24%, which is up. I think we were over the 90s.
I was
And
close.
I don't know.
So that
if it
means
was-
I win.
Yeah, you were under.
Yeah.
I was close. I should have stuck with my 80.
Anyways.
Stuck with the gut.
Thanks, ladies.
Yeah.
All right, Colin, you were called out.
I was called out. So I'll read the call out. Well, maybe you should read it,
He
Zach.
was
so I can
calling you out.
still marshal my thoughts, but I'll go ahead and do it. I would like to challenge Colin's claim that God is pursuing his enemies in love. This is from Dave Millsap, 647. And Dave has been a part of this podcast in comments
Yeah.
Superfan Dave.
much longer than I have been part of this podcast. So, Dave,
In
I
spirit,
should thank you for the comment, number one.
in spirit and in comments.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll judge
So-
whether it's truth or not.
Yeah.
God is pursuing
Comes
his
later.
enemies in love. God did not task Israel in the Old Testament to bring the other nations into the promise. He did the opposite. That's all caps of that. God held an exclusivity clause over Israel's head to be set apart. They had to divorce their non-Israelite wives and leave their children behind because they were pagan. Now, Dave's comment continues to move not only through Old Testament references from Deuteronomy and whatnot, but he also references, I think he's alluding to Revelation and whatnot in terms of apocalyptic literature, wrath and judgment, all those other things. It's quite a big nut to crack, Dave, in an immediate response. But I would say, from an Old Testament standpoint, I can't disagree with you. And on many levels, it's uncomfortable and distasteful to me. I wish I could, but I can't. But from the standpoint of how God, I believe, chose to represent himself through his son and how Jesus comported himself on the planet and walked amongst people, I don't see him not pursuing enemies based on engagement with Samaritan, Canaanite, Roman centurion. He is open, I would say, to in the least to their coming to him. So the fact that, yeah,
Is
that's
it? Is
Go
it
ahead, Andy.
Is it worth us just doing a little bit of definitions here of
sure.
both enemies and what loving them means? And so, like, who are the enemies that we're referencing in this scenario?
In Dave's scenario, Mr. Millsaps, in terms of his comments, I mean, he's
Well,
You think God is pursuing his enemies
Yeah.
in love.
yeah. So who are God's?
And you just gave us a little taste of that.
But I don't know if those were. That's why I was like. That's why I kind of was asking that. Like, I don't know if the Canaanite woman was Jesus' enemy. I don't know if some of the Roman soldiers were maybe specific.
yeah, because you can define enemy as someone who's doesn't disagree with you, but someone who actually wants to actively kill you.
Yeah.
And those are obviously different definitions, and that was part of the podcast 2 weeks ago,
Yes.
give or take.
Yeah.
Yeah, the examples I'm using aren't necessarily people that are actively seeking the life of Jesus.
Although the putting the sin in centurion, the centurion being a Roman, as it were, while not, he had his task and there might have been relative peace as the Romans had their boot on the people they subjugated, keeping the peace through force. Maybe it's whether or not they are classified as quote unquote enemies. It's the interaction and what I hear you describing, Colin, and you tell me if I'm wrong about your assumption, but I think I'm largely with you in your train of thought is his interactions with the people that would have been the outcasts or the person that you wouldn't think would deserve an interaction, let alone affection or love or healing. And so whether they're an enemy or not is beside the point. I'm like,
I think that is Dave's point. And I think that what you're describing isn't controversial.
but it is if you're using the Bible as like one template for which like this is what God says. These are God's words in the Bible. And I don't think Dave believes that anymore, but he uses it that way against, for better or worse, but often for better, to like talk to other Christians like, hey, your scripture, the way you talk about it here, what about this back there? And that's a worthy exercise a lot of times. I just lost my train of thought.
Well, that's why what struck me, like my first reaction was related to the last a couple podcasts ago, where we said, who are the enemies? Like, what are the enemies that are being pursuing? I think there, in my mind, there's a difference between pursuing the lost versus pursuing the enemies. A lot of the people that you like named off, I would say would maybe fall into the Jesus curious camp. The Roman centurion for sure, right? Lands in that Jesus curious camp. If we're thinking about the same one, I don't know. Maybe we're not. Multiple Roman centurions. Roman centurions in general, maybe that's a different story.
But why does it matter? Like,
well,
if they're a technical enemy according to your definition, would it change the way Jesus viewed them, or would minister to them or work for them?
Well, I think it matters because now, what does it mean for Jesus to be loving them? Is it any different than someone who just doesn't know him?
That's what I'm asking. Like, would it change Jesus' disposition? Obviously, when it came down to it, and he carried the cross and was executed by the state and the religious authorities, those were very real enemies.
Yeah, I think those are good examples.
And I think his self-sacrificial nature was on display there more than any other moment because of the cost that he paid.
I think that's a good example, but I don't know if some of the others are good examples of Jesus' enemies.
But again, that's where I'm like, what does it change? I'm gonna throw up. What does that change for the so what now what of that? Is it like, okay, if you're a Christian now today, does that distinction actually matter that much?
Maybe. I don't know.
So
this is
are there enemies today where it would be okay for Christians to advocate to not love self-sacrificially?
I don't think that. I think that
I think some Christians are starting to think that, or have been thinking that, which is worrisome.
I think love is vague and can show up in lots of different
That
forms.
was in Corinthians, right? Love is patient. Love is
kind.
vague.
Love is vague. Love is opaque.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
That was me.
I couldn't resist myself.
That was me in my 20s.
Love is vague.
What do you think about her? I don't know. Maybe.
She touched my leg.
Is that love? Am I in love? I think I'm in love. She might have looked at me. Well, so I don't want to rehash it too much, but there's a very safe from a distance version of loving your enemies.
It's easy to say,
which is very different than
I do it every day.
Yeah. You might be doing it in this podcast.
We'll see.
And then there's also a version, I recognize a Venn diagram exists here, of loving your neighbor as well. And I think that takes can take a very different form as well. So what I'm trying to get to is, I think in theory, someone may go same. Loving your enemies, loving your neighbor. You've checked the box. In practice, is it the same? Does it look the same? Does Jesus intend for that to be the same?
The cost changes.
The what?
The cost of doing said love, whatever that means, to the various parties will change, and the difficulty of doing it will change. Yeah, I mean, these are good distinctions, but to Dave's point, like I guess this is where all the examples of times where it appears that God is not loving towards his enemies or Israel's enemies or the ancient Jewish people's enemies. Yeah. Like Colin said, it's uncomfortable. The examples are innumerable. Actually, you could probably count them. There's one book or a library of books. But I am not. The good news is I'm not held to that standard in the way that some Christians, if you're a hardcore inerrantist, you gotta try to bridge those gaps, which is very difficult to do. And I think you can poke holes in that worldview because God, not all views of God appear to be the same. And so there's a lot of gymnastics that have to happen to make it a coherent picture of God never changing throughout time and space. And the template for me that's working right now, and because it feels good to me, that's where I'm going to go with. I recognize how that sounds to conservative Christians. It is, I believe that the people's understanding
this
of
is
God,
my Mad Libs Bible.
people's understanding of God throughout Scripture changes, and so what they thought God was doing changes. And I think there's evidence if you read the book of Hebrews where it talks about in these past times God communicated through X, Y, and Z, all the things that I can't remember it exactly says, but now he has spoken fully in Jesus.
There's also a common way to look at that, which is God did change the way he interacted with humanity because those were the things, or that's what humanity needed at the time. And that's a pretty common interpretation or theological position.
Yeah, that's another way to make sense of it. But, and I don't hate that one, but ultimately when it comes to the Bible, you're a lot of different hands in that cookie jar, and a lot of different perspectives to getting it from original writings, which we don't have, to now all the translations we do have. It's a complicated process that is a never-ending onion that I don't think I will ever stop trying to unpack.
You unpack onions? Where do you put them? Where do you put them after you've unpacked them?
Usually on the grill, on my Blackstone flat top, and I caramelize them, and then I smash my burgers into them.
Diced. It's a good one. I haven't had a smash burger in a while.
Anyways, Colin, any other thoughts on this, or Andy, you too?
I don't know. I'm wondering how to interpret the silence and suffering of Jesus. And do we put, oh, that's love? Or do we put, he's just obeying what his dad wants him to do? Because he's setting him up for the big...
Standing in front of Pilate? Like those moments of silence?
No. Like when he's just being flogged, spit on, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Those are true enemies, more from the definition that we're using. And when he's hearing the jeers of the crowd, crucify him. Things that people, we could assume, the same people with the palm branches just days ago, right? Hey, he's here. This is fantastic. Turns out not. And yeah, so how does that silence, how does that behavior of Jesus, do we say he's loving his enemies in that moment? Or is it absent of love and it's pure obedience, knowing that the genocidal terror and wrath of future judgment is coming? And so this is just, I know the play here. And so I'm going to be quiet, let you do to me what you want to do to me. This isn't love, but I need to give up my life so I can hammer later on.
And by hammer, what do you mean?
Destroy all my enemies, all the enemies of my people. And I will come back with righteous vengeance and Samuel L. Jackson you all.
Man, I wish I had that.
You're advocating for that?
No.
Oh.
No.
Sorry, I missed it.
The question, how do you interpret the silence? And if I'm looking at Dave's, hey, this is
you
God.
You actually just described a lot of Christianity.
Right. So if I'm looking at Dave's reading of the text, and God is this way.
Right.
I'm not saying Dave believes this. Dave, if you are listening, you may be watching. But I am suggesting that the Old Testament setup of that then promotes a Christian Christ return, Jesus return, as if you're in the enemy camp,
You better love me or else.
that's going to suck for you. It's not going to end up good. So the eschatological vision is gnarly.
Yeah. It just leads to more questions. More questions, more conversation.
And there's reasonable support for that in Scripture, ways that lots, millions of people have interpreted it that way. And so it's not coming out of nowhere. But
yeah,
I will subscribe to your categorization of those of the groups that you described as enemies of Jesus in that moment, wishing death and tragedy upon him. That's a good classic. But I think it also illustrates the difference. If we are to say that that's how Jesus is loving them in the moment is through his silence, then we see him loving others in a very different way, where it is protecting, advocating, actively having compassion on them.
Right.
And those people don't fit, at least that clean of an example of like an enemy. They don't seem like enemies. They're not out to do Jesus harm necessarily.
Right. But then the crowd, in all of their bandwagoning or accessory
mob mentality,
they're in agreement. Many are in agreement with, but they're not the ones necessarily making the decision.
Right.
And so the next question is, okay, are they also included? Because they're not stopping this. They're aware of what's happening. They're not stopping. They're actually encouraging this. Yeah. So although they're not holding the hammer, they're
advocating for it. And
so they're just as much enemies, even though they're not engaged in the brutality of the event.
But I would say they are also enemies in this context, because they are wishing ill and tragedy.
Maybe so.
To the point of death with Jesus.
When the rubber really meets the road, the slam dunk is...
Give me one more metaphor. One more metaphor.
No, when Jesus says, what does he say to the people? Like when he's being crucified, what does he say? Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Now, I once was in a late night argument fiasco on the nature of
that's redundant
God and who he does and doesn't forgive. And my bias is towards like, this is a universal. Yes, it was rooted in a historical moment where he says, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. I'm like, if this displays the Christ's heart, this is a universal statement. Like, who knows what they're doing? Like, in the grand scheme of things,
right?
Who among us, like, we've got such a small sliver of knowledge. None of us really know what we're doing. And even less so is our access to, like, all of the robustness of the absoluteness of reality.
All right, I'll push back on that. I don't think
but
that's
this person,
true.
Real quick, this person said, no, that just applied to those specific people there, that he asked God to forgive just those specific people, which to me it feels like Jesus, if that's what Jesus meant for Father to forgive, that's pretty small and sad. And then we're all fucked. If that's
maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle, because there's a way that you can describe that basically says everyone's a sociopath and has no feelings and no moral compass and doesn't understand moral gravity at all. So how can you blame anyone for raping and killing or whatever? They don't know what they're doing. It puts forth the idea that people don't have any sense of the gravity of their actions, good or evil. And I don't think
that's not a claim I'm making. I'm just talking about the heart of God towards people.
Yeah, but you said that. Okay, let me see if I can rewind it, because what I heard you say was, that Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Applies to everyone, everywhere, all the time.
No, just flip it on its head. Like Jesus.
Because you said none of us know what we're doing.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things,
Right.
yes. In the day-to-day, yes, we have agency within. If we're talking free will, our free will is limited to our experience and cultural, and that can change as we grow and we take on new cultures, and there is free will within that. I like to think of like everyone has built-in bumper lanes where you can throw the bowling ball anywhere you want within those lanes, and as you live and grow and your experience expands, maybe those lanes get wider and you have more options on where you want to throw the bowling ball.
Like your
In the shitty
moral,
metaphor.
your
Your moral.
So your moral compass just allows for more bad behavior
No,
as you get older.
but you're missing my entire point, which is that
Maybe
I
you're
believe
missing mine.
right. But I was talking first. Does God is God a God who forgives? And if Jesus is asking them, and he's talking about them there,
Yeah.
Father, forgive them; they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Can we expand that to? Is it possible that the forgiveness of Christ is forgiveness because none of us, you don't know what you're doing. You know what you're doing in the cosmic sense. None of us really know what we're doing. We don't have access to like all of the truths independently in our specific circumstances. Yes, there is good decisions, bad decisions. There's sin that gets off track. There's sin that has disastrous consequences that leads to wrath and punishment and judgment, all of which are just natural bringers on of those decisions.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, I like to think that's a cosmic example of like the Lamb of God slain before the foundation of the earth is on display. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. And that applies to all of us, not just the people who were there at the time. I'm not saying you don't have agency in your day-to-day.
It's not about agency. Agency just means that you can do the thing. It's do you understand what you're doing, and do you understand the difference between good and evil? That's different. But I think what I can get on board with is, there is a large percentage of the population who doesn't understand what their rejection of Jesus means. And I think that's what ultimately Jesus is getting to. I don't know if he's specifically just talking about the act of them killing him. I would broaden it like you would, which is to say it is the rejection of Jesus is the thing that they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
So that, I think, totally makes sense broad. But if it is, none of us know what we're doing, which is what you said, that's why I reacted. You're like, but none of us know what we're doing anytime. Maybe, but sometimes we do. And so I don't want that to like, that leaves the door open to like,
I love certain sins.
Moral interpretation. I know exactly what I'm doing, but that's my point. Is that we do know what we're doing. We as humans do have written on our hearts a sense of good and evil, and we know those things. Whether it's your conscience, the Holy Spirit, or whatever. Like
agreed. But are there things that you will do that you think are good that you will look back on and be like, oh shit, I really messed that up. That was wrong what I did. I thought I was doing good in the moment. And I think there's grace across all of that spectrum. I sure hope there is. And that's kind of what I believe is like, even in the midst of struggling and trying to do good,
right,
you are going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Some of which might be catastrophic.
They'd be bad.
Catastrophic. I was right the first time.
Just say super bad.
Super bad. Killing is wrong, guys. Yeah, I think there's grace for both. Like, yeah. Rare is it the person that's like the Star Wars villain that's like, I'm bad because I'm wearing black and red, and I'm bad because of the way I talk and the way I dress.
Yeah, but that's
in real life, people think they're the hero of their own story and they're doing what's right.
Maybe.
Almost always.
Maybe. But I mean, yes, we can all fool ourselves.
Is there grace for that? Or forgiveness for that?
Sure, there is. But I think someone who goes through the process of justifying their behavior, it doesn't mean that at some point in the process they didn't recognize that their behavior wasn't okay, which is why mentally they couldn't live with the cognitive dissonance and had to go in and go like, I have to correct this because I actually can't live with my behavior.
Right.
So I need to rewrite it in my head. And that is a
that happens too.
Common occurrance.
Yes.
And that's why there's a term for it.
Yeah.
We call it zacking.
Yeah. I'm just honored to be a part of it somehow.
Honored. I honor you.
Honored.
I feel like you're drilling in on, and this is good. You're drilling in on the boots on the ground, and I was like taking the
boots in the sky.
The infinity foot view.
I don't know why I said it that way.
Boots in the sky.
We'll put the boots
Is that your
in the
impression
sky.
of me?
Yeah.
Zach's just all about those boots in the sky.
Light in the loafers. Boots in the sky.
He's so light, he floats. Now we're like doing Huelhauser.
Hey, look at them boots. Where did you get those boots?
This will crack up our 65 and over.
Yeah. We're going to really crank that up. Listener, if you don't know who Huelhauser is, go look him up. And then you can come in the comment section how much we nailed our impression of Huelhauser.
Oh, man.
Dana Gould has the best Huelhauser, though. There's no better. There's no better impersonation.
Huel's rules.
All right.
All right. Well,
we solved. What would you call that topic?
I don't think we solved it.
Damn it.
Well, yet. TBD.
Okay.
Also, I'd be curious, Dave, in one of your future comments. I know from talking to him personally, mostly via text. Old friend. He used to live out here. Was a former bandmate of mine. But he was like conservative rapture type Christian that we previously talked about, and people we're in contact with now are.
Is there part of him that's bummed that it didn't happen?
No, because the last time we talked specifically about like, is God real or not? Because he deconstructed pretty hard. He's like, I'm kind of a deist. I don't see myself ever being able to go atheist. Like, I can't imagine that this whole thing came from nothing. But I think he's fascinated with the Bible and how Christians use it and whatnot, similar to me. But I don't know if he would call himself a Christian anymore, but he's very dialed into the Bible and what it has to say. And he's like on this continual journey of like, it's just too fascinating to give up. But
that's good.
You can tell us where you're at now, Dave.
Yeah.
He was on our podcast way back in the day, To Catch a Preterist.
To catch a what?
A preterist, which I thought was an excellent show title.
Wow.
I can't tell if you're mispronouncing another word.
Do you know what a preterist is?
Is this like a catastrophe?
Define preterist. I actually loved that title I came up with, and it didn't get near the traction it should have.
I'll take the rapist for 1,000, Alex.
A preterist is somebody that believed that in AD 70, around there, when Jewish people tried to revolt against Rome and they were just destroyed, the temple was destroyed, that's when the fulfillment of most of those New Testament biblical prophecies happened, as opposed to we're not looking for those prophecies in the future because they were fulfilled then, which is a whole other can of worms. But you got a definition you want to drop on us?
It's long, but you got the gist of it. Yeah. There's not only a preterist, but there's preterism,
and there's full and partial preterists. This is where we need to change some words around or something, or not use the. Andy loves this.
This is good. This is good.
Andy,
content.
you might be a partial preterist, if I'm being honest. Knowing what I know about you, the way you think about the Bible, you might be a partial preterist.
Yeah?
Who knows? We'll have to explore that together.
Yeah, you never know. Could be sneaking right around the corner.
I might be too old, though, for you to explore it with me. Hey, don't laugh silently. Laugh out loud. Otherwise, you leave me hanging.
Sorry.
For the audio listeners.
I'm just imagining this scenario. You know that meme with that black dude poking his head out around the tree, and he's like kind of licking his lips, and he's got his hands together. He's like, That's me. Preterist. Oh no, dude. Oh, it's gonna happen. Just go quick and don't worry about the foam when you pour this beer. Listener, Docent Brewing, they're crowlers. They do not know how to make them, or they just fill them too high, and it spills every single time.
We love their beer, though.
The beer's worth it. Or you could just drink a little off the top, and then we'll allow it
If you don't mind. All right.
Are we in a section where the herpes are showing, or
no,
remission?
Remission.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
At least partially.
Whew.
Let's why don't we move towards...
I don't know that I've ever seen the actual video, so I have no context from what
this is someone else talking about it. Shouldn't have said it. I found the image of the gentleman poking around.
Oh, yeah. Did you?
But I don't actually see the animated, if it ever
There's
was.
no animation. It's just him.
Oh, it's just him.
Yeah, see if you
let
can
me
pop
see
that
if I
up on the...
Find a bigger one. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Zoom in
There he is.
Look at that's a
Let's
really...
see, here we go.
That's a
Is it
terrible
getting
version
bigger?
of it. Yeah. I'm going to get him.
There he is.
I'm going to get Zach.
Yeah.
I want to know what was going on. That says FIFA fans. I don't know what that means. Other than
World Cup's coming up. That's
Okay.
why they're excited.
All right, is Trump getting into heaven?
Oh, well,
Let's cut to a clip.
cut to the clip.
Oh, we can do
all
that.
right, let's see it.
Recently, though, actually,
I'm being
Can you go full
a
screen?
little cute.
yeah, full
we can.
screen on that, and then pop. There you go. Perfect. So recently,
I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay, I really don't. I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but I've made life a lot better for a lot of people. And you know, as an example, had the election of 2020 not been rigged, you would have
That's
millions
basically
of
it.
people living just in Russia, Ukraine alone.
Okay.
That would have never happened, and it didn't.
people. I'm realizing his people is almost a B. It's a B and a P. People. A lot of people.
So Trump doesn't think he's going to get into heaven.
Yeah, and I don't know what the context of that is previous to that, but it is amazing.
But a show of hands, how many in the room think that Trump? No.
I think everyone goes to heaven and hell. What?
Both.
It's the same place. It's how are you oriented towards the uncontrolling love of God. That's a different conversation,
Yeah.
and that's super heretical, maybe. But Trump not getting into heaven, people took it seriously. You can kind of tell he's sort of joking. I wonder what happened before that. But I pair this with but his previous administration, the first time around, people asked him about his faith because it was like, oh, he's a baby Christian. And somebody asked him, a reporter asked him if he needs to be forgiven. He's like, I don't think I've ever done anything where I need to be forgiven. Which, like, that is a baby Christian right there. But, you know, you combine that, like, okay, the absolute sociopath that some people view him as, like, I've never done anything that needs to be forgiven. Versus
That is literally, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do.
I know. The ultimate callback. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I got it. I'm okay.
Real estate billionaire, nothing happened on the way to the top. But yeah, contrast that with that, where he's sort of like humbly in jest. I really want to know what came before that, but it cut to online. Everyone's like, he doesn't understand grace. And then also like, of course he would. Well, if you can go to the Laura Loomer quote, she's an advisor of some sort in a firebrand of social media. Yeah, read
here
that.
we go. President Trump is crazy if he thinks he's not on the list to get into heaven after what he's done for our country and the world.
After what you've done.
Yeah. She goes on. It's hard to think of someone more accomplished who has done more good for humanity than President Trump. Imagine being a Trump hater. I could never.
That is a glowing endorsement for sure. Maybe the most glowing. I like Trump more than I don't like Trump. Gosh darn it! Spilled the beer.
When did you become racist, Andy? I'm just kidding.
But she said did the most for humanity ever. Was that her words?
It's hard to think of someone more accomplished who has done more good for humanity than President Trump.
Anyone ever? Wow.
That's strong. That's a lot.
Maybe
Laura.
I don't like these absolutes.
maybe my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Oh.
You just shit on my Jesus point.
Okay, besides him. No.
Glass.
Yes.
We'll feed you.
Here.
Yeah. I believe Laura Loomer is a self-professed Christian, but it is interesting that there still is like that list that God is going to check it. He's got a list. He's going to check it twice, and Trump is on that list. And my point or my thought in all this is like whether, I don't know, it's just interesting how Christians for and against still see it like, oh, it's what you're doing. And oftentimes liberal Christians can skew towards faith without works is dead. And they criticize conservatives for more often aiming at like proper doctrine, checking all like the stated beliefs while not actually doing those beliefs. And so oftentimes more liberal Christians like lean into the like, yes, I don't know what I believe about some of these doctrines, but I do believe in the mission of Christ and I want to do that. And it's the whole Paul versus, well, some would say versus, some would say Paul and James conversation, which is like your faith, I'll show you my faith by my works, and then also faith alone. So,
But there's belief and professing, right? Believe in your heart, profess with your mouth, right? Those two get attached and then maybe enriched by James.
yeah, maybe. And what about?
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Would you? I always viewed those things as not in competition, but like an enrichment of each other. Like, if I say I'm a Dodgers fan, and there's nothing in my life that indicates that. I don't follow them. I don't go to games. I don't cheer for them. You can't point to anything in my life that indicates that. Then what makes someone a Dodgers fan?
So you're a Jamesian. You're a Jamesian.
But the question would be, well, what do you believe?
You're kind of describing my Dodger fandom right now. Like current fandom. In the past, I followed the Dodgers and didn't go to games, but watched their games and sat through it all.
To be fair, it's harder to watch their games. They made it harder.
To be fair.
They did make it harder to watch their games. So it's not on you, man. But I share some of that, by the way. Anyway, but it's worth examining. So that's why I mentioned the other part, like if you profess with your mouth and believe in your heart. So I could do one of those things, but I'm leaving out another part of the equation. Hey, I am a Dodgers fan. Yes, 100%. But if I'm not doing anything, then maybe I don't really believe it. Maybe in my heart, I don't believe it because there's nothing, it has no effect on my life. And can you be a Christian and have no effect on your outward life?
Yeah, I would hesitate to say absolutely no, but directionally, it's actually I think Paul has a little Jamesian in him when he talks about you can have faith that will move mountains. Correct me if I'm paraphrasing this incorrectly. When he's talking about love, like love, and you could interpret love as the action of doing love, being loving, being Christ-like, and that this is my interpretation, obviously.
Yeah.
The priority is love over the faith. Now, it doesn't say that faith doesn't matter, but there's definitely in the faith, hope, and love, there's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
You can have faith, but if you don't have love, and maybe that's the point he's making. So, and that's kind of Jamesian too.
Yeah.
That's Paul allegedly, right? Or is that one of the contested epistles? I don't remember. Is that Ephesians?
In terms of what? Being
Faith,
a
hope,
contested?
and love. Greatest of these love. Ephesians isn't contested. That's Paul.
No.
Genuine Paul.
I forget the way I'm trying to remember it is from
Faith, hope, and love would be 1 Corinthians.
Wedding Crashers. when they're
taking
trying-
bets.
when they're taking bets on what the verse is that's going to be read at the wedding.
Yeah.
No.
I think it was Ephesians and 1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 3:15.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, because for me, it's not controversial to say you can have someone who actively embodies love, actually displays fruits of the Spirit, and is not a Christian.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But and so that's, in my mind, that's why the equation is important. Like all the components of the equation are important. So they may have hope and love, they're not actively displaying faith, or not even displaying, like they don't have faith.
Right. Or they're not a Christian in the sense of like, hey, I believe in Jesus. I believe he died for my sins, but they're displaying a lot of elements of the fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And yet, are they forgiven? I like to think so.
Yeah. They're already forgiven. All of us are already forgiven. It's whether or not we acknowledge that.
Ooh, that's a little universalistic, Andy. Careful.
Well, no,
You might be
I don't think-
coming.
well, we talked about
come to
this
the
with
dark
Carrie.
side.
No. We talked about this with Carrie, right? Like Jesus' forgiveness happened then and it moved forward. You are already forgiven for your sins. It's not like it doesn't happen afterwards. It's just an acknowledgement of our forgiveness.
Yeah, which I'm very sympathetic to. What's that? I was just trying to Google the passage where it talks about Jesus being the savior of the whole world, especially those who believe, which is a weird. It's like, what exactly did the author mean by? What does he especially mean? But whoever doesn't believe is included in the savior part of that sentence, which is fascinating to me. Which might be part of the, like, you are not aware of the waters of mercy and grace that you're already swimming in. Like, you're like a fish that doesn't know it's wet because it's just, you're already in it, but you don't realize the stream you're already swimming in. And then one day the right context appears. And for some people, it's the epic conversion moment of like, oh my God, I realize I'm a sinner and I repent. And for some people, it's like maybe a gradual process. To some people, it's what you were given from the beginning, talking about myself now, and you don't realize really the gravity of everything until like you're well into your 30s.
Yeah. I like the prodigal son example. Like when I think about that, I don't think the father was sitting there and like the picture is not the father sitting there crossing his arms and being like, I'm going to wait for you to say the right words and then I'll forgive you. Right? It is, the forgiveness exists there already and the son is coming back and receiving the forgiveness.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. No.
Yeah.
That's how I view this. Because I don't think Jesus has to die again on the cross. He didn't die on the cross then. He then doesn't die again on the cross when we mess up tomorrow. That was once, forever.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a special word for that? Colin, did they teach you that in wizard school? What's the name for that?
If they did, I forgot.
Forward-facing forgiveness. We call it the triple F.
Did you just come up with that right now?
I did.
You're so swimming in the corporate waters. You just come up with those.
Oh, acronyms?
quick
You guys want to play with acronyms? We're launching this. Triple F. It's a thing. Forward-facing forgiveness.
There's another verse in Colossians where, I think it's Colossians, where Paul is saying, like, while you were enemies with God in your minds. And I just, like, when I first read that and really read it, it was just big light bulb moment. Like, God was already at work while you were enemies of God in your minds. And it's, maybe I'm making a universalistic mountain out of that molehill, but there's plenty of other little seeds of that sprinkled throughout Scripture where it's like, oh, is it possible that God was never our enemy? Like his disposition towards us which goes to this Charlie Kirk clip I have queued up of Charlie Kirk explaining the gospel, which is kind of interesting because I think it's kind of where most Christians would like not quibble with any of this. But if I get a little granular on some of this,
You get a little quibbly.
I would be like, what is... We're big on definitions, and Charlie Kirk was big on definitions.
Let's watch it. Don't spill the beans on your reaction before.
Those of you that are not yet believers, it's very simple. You're going to have a court date. We all die. And you're all going to meet the supreme judge of the universe. Justice is getting what you deserve, which is going to a not so good place. We're all sinners and we all fall short of the glory of God. But thanks to the cross, a perfect loving God who came down in human form, human flesh, lived a perfect life and died for us so that we can live forever. At that moment, when we're about to get that sentencing into eternal damnation, somebody says, no, I know him. I know her. Welcome to eternal life. You have an opportunity. The gospel in 4 words is Jesus took my place. 3 words is him for me. 2 words is substitutionary atonement, and 1 word is grace. Grace you cannot earn. Grace you do not pay for. It doesn't matter how much money you give to the hospital. You can't earn it. It doesn't matter if you're a good person. It doesn't matter if you have always done the best you can, because what's different about Christianity is that it's a gift for all of humanity to receive regardless of everything that we have done. And your life will be transformed. You will be born again. Grace is not earned. It is given by a God who loves you and wants to spend eternity with you. It is the most important decision you can make in your life. Here I am. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
So it's pretty, when it's done like that, and he's so quick, it's very powerful. But one of the things that caused me to deconstruct a lot of things about what I understood about God was focusing in on what grace means. And what is implied, he doesn't say it, but every time he says grace is not earned, most Christians believe, and this is maybe one of my heresies, grace is not earned, but you don't get grace unless. And that's where I'm like,
What do you mean by get grace?
how do you get grace according to, how do you become saved or become a Christian? Most Christians believe you don't get that grace unless you repent.
Yeah.
And there's even biblical examples of that. I'm aware of this.
Yeah.
But that makes it not grace, because grace is not earned. So literally the grace is already there. It goes to this prodigal son thing.
Do you think people can reject grace?
Yeah, we do all the time.
Okay.
We do all the time. But if the consequence of that is being tortured forever, somebody should have told Paul, because Paul never mentions that. And so this is the amalgamation of the gospel as most of us get it. And a lot of it sounds good, and a lot of it is good. A lot of that is good and epic. But the idea of like, you don't get the substitution part is gross to me too, because it means God had to kill something in order to forgive, which eliminates the meaning of the word forgiveness, in my opinion. People can come back at me, including you guys if you want. To forgive something is not to need something else in return. That is substitution. But forgiveness is just letting go. When you forgive your kid, like, it doesn't matter if they apologize or not. You're not allowing their behavior to poison you against them. You forgive them. And so that's kind of where I currently view, so if God is real and God cares about us individually and personally, the idea of God being like, I will forgive you if, that's not forgiveness. Like, it's counter to the definition of the word.
How do you square that with the concept of justice then?
That might be above my pay grade.
Oh, that's convenient.
I know. It's really convenient to be a progressive Christian. Tell me about it.
Progressive Christianity is neither progressive nor Christian.
Discuss. Spontaneous worship is neither worship nor spontaneous. Discuss. No, I wouldn't.
The biggest lie on the internet.
I realize a lot of the things I say will put me in the progressive camp. I don't call myself a progressive Christian, but you can do what you want, listener. Yeah, justice. Yes, restoring what's lost, ultimate restoration, ultimate justice. I don't know how that works, but if it involves, to Colin's point of providing at the beginning, when you're like, an interpretation of Jesus is that in silence he was waiting because he knew, I'm going to return and I'm going to fuck shit up, and make things right through the conquering, that literal conquering of my enemies. If that is what justice looks like at the end, where God literally destroys a third of the people, 2/3 of the people, however many it is, then God is just like a normal Caesar on steroids. And that doesn't sound like agape to me. So in between all of that stuff, I don't know how, I can't predict how ultimate justice happens, but I have faith in the idea that the rivers of agape will grow and grow, as the book of Revelation says. The gates of the New Jerusalem are always open, and the rivers of the waters of life are always flowing out to the nations, and anybody can come in to receive it. And I think that's just God's posture towards us. Details wise, like in the here and now, how justice happens, that's a shitstorm of like how we do justice now. Like the peace process that's happening currently, hopefully it's holding between Hamas and Israel, like how justice works out between them or any other situation, it's totally messy, I know. But big picture, that's where I'm oriented.
That's good. I appreciate that. Can I use that as a segue to talk about the Middle East stuff a little bit?
Yeah.
Or do you want to stick with...
No. I got to vent a little bit, and unless you guys want to chime in, like, it's your podcast, Andy.
I don't know. I'm trying to read you. Do you want to go there?
Oh, you think I just put it on a tee? Maybe I did.
It feels like
I did unintentionally, but maybe it's because I'm a professional podcaster and that happens naturally.
It did, and I unprofessionalized it by saying the thing out loud.
But then it's real and raw and honest and human, and so we just did the human thing.
I don't have a ton of reactions on the peace in the Middle East stuff. The recent events of signing treaties between Palestine and Israel, but I did have a chance to watch some of the reunion videos, and I don't know if you've had a chance to see any of those, but the hostages being returned to their families, the Israeli hostages being returned to their families, it is touching, dude. It's very powerful. There was this one that I saw of this older gentleman. He's the father, and he's wheelchair bound. And I think there'd been an accident or an issue that had caused him in the past few years to like kind of lose his speech. And he's just like, I get the sense that maybe he can't actually speak words, but he's overcome, like hugging his son, and is just making these. I don't know how to describe the sounds that he's making. It's not screeches or anything like that, but if you look it up, it's just pure emotion that you're seeing, and that like coupled with just family members like sprinting down this hallway and just jumping in the arms of their family members who'd been returned.
Yeah,
it's touching, dude. It's really touching, and I'm really hoping that, like you said, like this is something that sticks, because
it would be almost miraculous if it does.
It would be miraculous.
This part of the world.
This part feels miraculous, and I know a lot of people feel like this is a moment for them to land on. It's that guy right there. Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people feel like this is a moment for them to like land on what their side has done or is doing, and it feels like. I just want to set aside like the political aspects of it and any sort of dunking on anybody, and just go, dude, this feels better than it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Today feels better than it was yesterday, and I'm hopeful that continues.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I know Trump has been gunning for the Nobel Peace Prize. He missed out on it this year, but that was based on last year. Next year, if like this holds at all, it's like, if they give it to Obama, who
he hadn't done anything yet,
and he ended up fighting multiple wars and droned American civilians, don't get me started on that aspect of it, or at least one American civilian and his son, American citizen, I should say. Anywho, the Nobel Peace Prize is like, if you give it, there's certain people that have gotten where it's like, okay, I know the world doesn't like Trump. If you listen to this podcast, you know I'm not a huge fan. I'm not Orange Man bad guy either. But it's like, if this holds at all, like it's hard to say like he didn't have a huge role, because I mean you can find quotes about him talking about Benjamin Netanyahu like, every time we're close, he fucking bombs somebody else. Like he was very frustrated with Benjamin Netanyahu about a lot of things. And so if this holds, that would be remarkable. And even if it's a broken clock, it can be right once or twice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't necessarily think it's that dark of a description. I
don't either. I'm just trying to like shade towards the people that.
He's the peaciest president we've ever had, in at least in my lifetime. There's the fewest conflicts that have occurred.
There's been none peacefuler.
He's the most peaceful. I walked into this place. I said, "My, what a peaceful place."
That gets you on track. That's your cornerstone for that. If you can get to the what a anything, that gets you back into the oppression.
We needed some peace. I said, we need some peace. Look at the peace. And it was peace, and we had peace.
Random fun facts about the Peace Prize.
Oh, yeah.
It's been awarded every year since 1973.
Yeah.
And obviously it was not awarded during the World Wars. We all know why. It's been refused.
Wait, since 1973?
Since 1973.
There had to have been a couple of hippies during the World Wars that should have deserved it.
Well, there were no World Wars since 1973, so...
I mean, but in the World Wars, they paused it.
Yeah, I know, but you said since 1973.
Since 1973, they've been issuing them.
Okay.
It's been refused once.
Told there'd be no math.
And 45% of the Nobel Peace Prize recipients have been in Europe. 16% for Asia, 20% for North America, 2% South America, 9% for Africa. Just random.
Wow. So which one
Peace
of those
Prize
countries?
So who's like the most peacist?
Where's the Antichrist coming from? That's what Antichrist is going to bring peace. I'm surprised I haven't seen a fringe person that's big on Antichrist, because the Antichrist is going to institute peace for a period of time. You usually see that about every president when they're talking about peace at all.
Oh, this is the one.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican. Every president comes under the crosshairs of like, he's talking about peace in the Middle East. He might be the Antichrist. Does he have a head wound? Trump got shot in the ear. Head wound. Does that count? Colin, you're a physician. Does that count?
The latest thing that I saw was they said it was a blood packet because there was no blood on his hair.
I love all the conspiracies happening right now.
Man.
I'm here for all of it. I don't agree with most of them, but
well, that moment is sweet, and if you guys haven't seen it, you should look up that moment.
I have it here right now, but it's 1:20, and then it goes into. It looks like it pans to other parties meeting.
It's fine to share a little bit of it. I think that's okay.
Bring some of Andy's joy to the world.
It's not showing now.
Oh, don't worry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Up here.
Yeah.
Just give me a moment. I need the volume up.
All right.
Of course, there's no volume right now.
I love these though. These are just, they're so pure. There it is.
They're studying him so he can stand up.
Yeah, that's good. That was the one. There's a longer clip of it elsewhere on the internet, but it is so touching, man. He is overcome, and it's a beautiful picture. So I'm grateful for those folks that are experiencing that joy. I know it probably should be mentioned that there are also others who are waiting for the remains of their loved ones to be returned. And there's some maybe some slim solace that exists in that if and when that happens. But that doesn't mean that we can't like at least take joy in some of those things. I think it's a beautiful picture.
It totally is. I saw in the fake news department, there's a video circulating of like, as soon as the ceasefire, this current ceasefire was agreed to, it was shared and it's like, oh, look what Hamas is doing. They've returned and they're already shooting people. And I think it was just an old video. So I went, I'm like, let me check every source I could find. Like, nobody's talking about how the piece is broken. But it was in the context of like, again, like trying to be like, well, that side. It's like, just take a breath.
Yeah.
And we don't need to share things just because they come up and they confirm what we already believe. Like, let things play out. Hope and pray for this to be lasting. But man, beware of all that, because you see stuff, and when you identify with the direction of the video, it's so easy to be like, "Oh my gosh, yeah! Can you believe this is happening already?" It's like, no, but it wasn't. It's an old video, and it's such a heartbreaking, shitty situation for such a long period of time. There's plenty of videos that can be faked like that. So,
yeah, thoughts and prayers, clicks and views.
Thoughts and prayers, clicks and views. Thanks for that jingle.
Something.
Juice. It comes.
No, I don't know. Shouldn't have. I'm sorry.
Why? It wasn't derogatory.
I know it's not meant to be.
But these days, people hear Jews and it's like, oh my gosh.
I know. I have Jewish friends at work. They're awesome. Well, I'm grateful for that. Maybe we'll check in and hopefully, like we've all said multiple times, I want it to sustain.
Yeah.
It's good.
May it at least sustain selfishly until we get this episode out.
Yes. That, but like, I don't know, man. It's just some good news in the world is a good thing. I like seeing some good news in the world.
Yeah, John Krasinski started the Good News Network, didn't he?
Yeah.
Is that still going on?
No,
probably not, because he couldn't get the clicks.
He retired. He ran out of material.
There's plenty of good. All the good news happens when you put your feet on the grass.
Yeah.
And go make eye contact with a stranger at the store and like smile at somebody and talk. And man, maybe we never get to people that grew up in Russia. Like if you smile, if you visit Russia, I don't know if this is still true, but I've heard this and I have it on relatively good authority.
Some say.
But if you're like smiling at strangers, they think you are special needs. And the word I was given was they think you're retarded because nobody smiles over there. Like you don't smile at strangers ever. And it's like, that still happens around here. You can smile at a stranger. You can open the door for them and you're not, nobody thinks like, what's your angle? But unless you're in New York City and everyone comes out to you, giving you free stuff and asking for money, but smile at a stranger.
So where did you get the info from?
I'm just pushing all the things down. All the responses.
Go ahead.
But where did you get? Okay, who's saying Russians don't smile?
Somebody that grew up in Russia, was born in Russia.
Okay,
and maybe this is their lived experience.
And they recently came over to the States.
No, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
I have heard that too. That is culturally
just a little
not acceptable. Although I think it's also true in New York, because I remember seeing this comedian from Canada, and he was on Kill Tony, and he was saying, he's like, "Hey, I'm just a happy-go-lucky guy, you know, and so I'm out there in New York, and I just, you know, if the sun's shining, I'm smiling." And he goes, "I was in New York, and I'm just looking around, and some guy's like, 'Hey, the fuck you looking at?' Shut your mouth."
I think it's true. It's true in New York.
Yeah. And he's like, "So I guess I'm not supposed to be smiling." Yeah. I'll find that clip.
I'm sure it's not true everywhere in Russia, but I think there is I don't know. Whatever it's like over there, go out into the world and smile at a stranger and make eye contact. Put your feet in the grass, man. The world needs more of that, as opposed to like doing the ones and zeros and getting anger fight all the time.
I wonder if it's a Russian on Russian non-smiling thing, but a Russian on visitor, they're okay smiling back.
Maybe.
I bet it's even worse.
You think so? I've been to Russia.
What'd you think of it?
Lived experience.
Yeah, lived experience. So I must have been the village idiot because people smiled at me.
You're just making people laugh. Like,
I guess.
can you believe this guy?
Look at this clown.
So
Look at this clown over
yeah,
here.
in
That's
Moscow.
good to hear.
This was back in 2001.
Oh, were you
What was that
ministering?
time frame? No,
Oh, you weren't.
No.
Sinner.
I wasn't.
Selfish. It was a selfish trip for selfish purposes.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't start ministering until we went to Kazakhstan. And then that's when the ministry started. When we're in Moscow, no ministry was happening.
You have to minister harder when you're in a place with more consonants in the
They're
name.
lost. They were lost. It was a lost
The
cause.
more the consonants.
Don't waste your ministry here, guys. Save it for Kazakhstan.
Yeah, ministry is an on and off thing. Yeah, you turn it on
That's the way it works.
when you go on church on Sunday, and then you turn it off
yeah.
when you walk out the door.
Everyone puts their hands in the middle and they're
Yeah,
like,
the guy-
Ready,
one,
break.
2, 3, ministry,
Yep.
go!
Yeah, where do you think that guy in New York came from? He came straight from church, and then he sees the friendly Canadian, and he's like, "What the fuck are you looking at? I'm not on ministry duty anymore. Stop looking at me." Well, should we do a couple more comments? We got a lot
Yeah.
comments that should be acknowledged, and we can bug out of here.
Let's grab 2 and then we'll call it a day.
Okay.
Yeah. You had them or you had them?
I had them. I'm trying to find them again.
Okay.
One has them.
Okay. Well, we have some pretty intense ones.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, our spiritual warfare episode on drugs opening a portal to the demonic.
Yeah.
There was a really heavy one about meth addiction.
Let's read that one.
Let's read it.
Spill the beans.
Okay. This is from Tracy Day 8661. My husband got into meth the last couple of years we were married. I watched him go from a fun, sweet person to a horrific evil man. His eyes even changed. They became almost black. I didn't believe in God at the time, but I remember thinking he was possessed. We'd been married 17 years, but I had to leave. A month after I left, he overdosed on heroin. I've been a Christian now for 3 years. I know that he opened up something in his soul by doing that drug, and he was taken over by demonic forces.
Ooh, that's dark, dude. Even the way she describes like something changing in his eyes.
Yeah.
Which happens, I think, generally. And I think meth, from what I've heard, never done it, but yeah, your eyes change with a lot of drugs. I hope
Do they?
Yeah. Yeah, like your pupils can dilate.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
on hallucinogens, your pupils can get really, I think they get really small. Or is it big? Some antidepressants will affect your pupils.
Yeah.
But regardless, I hope nobody came away from that episode thinking like, oh, my point was like, I am skeptical of portals to the demonic world being opened. That being said, like, call it demonic, call it evil, like addiction, and the right/wrong circumstance it's not good. Like drugs, my point isn't drugs are good or always bad. It's like, it's context and how it's being used, and that situation is terrible, and I wish it didn't happen.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. And my position is I think that there are spiritual forces in the world, and I think that drugs can make you susceptible to them, more susceptible to being influenced by them. And I started listening to Screw Tape Letters on audiobook this morning on my drive in.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, getting that back up, and how much of that is just like its influence, planting seeds, gentle nudges, the way that he describes it. It's not this big, scary, show up above them and pin them and paralyze them in bed
Obvious
so they
demon.
feel, obvious demon with horns and flames behind them. It's like No, distract them. Make them remember that they're actually really busy. Have them pray, but have them think about praying for that person in a very long distance spiritual sense and not about the person on an actual day-to-day basis. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, it's very interesting. So, but yeah, I think drugs can you can open yourself up to those kinds of influences. Okay, you had another one in there?
Yeah, another one in here. Well,
Thank you, Tracy, for sharing that. I appreciate it. That's a sensitive
Sorry to hear that
thing.
as well.
And it's tragic. It's totally tragic. But
Thanks for taking the time to share that vulnerability.
yeah, and I hope some of this podcast is helpful.
yeah, you guys are going to have to take this one up. This is from Fleshfly Flossie 2 weeks ago. I think I got that correctly.
Okay.
And Freshfly Flossie says, "You guys are close, but so far. To call someone a fascist isn't a form of demonization. Words have meanings, and far too often folks fall victim to a hit dog will holler, very similar to when certain folks are called racist and choose to take it as an insult rather than the descriptive word it's meant to be."
Oh, well, you're a dick.
What does that mean to you, Floss Fly Flishy?
Hey, don't take it personally. Don't be offended. It's just what you are. That's silly.
Honestly, these days I don't know what fascist means anymore. I don't know what racist means anymore.
There are definitions to these things, but the way that people use them.
I know. I don't know what most people mean.
No, they don't either. That's the problem.
But it's interesting. It sounds like racist. Him being or her, I'm guessing, dude, being called a racist is like, yeah, maybe it's like the Nick Fuentes variety of like, yeah, everyone's racist. Everyone has biases. Everyone's racist. He uses it in a way that's different than when I think of a racist. I think of somebody that hates somebody that's different than them and would potentially consider doing actions that are harmful to said people. But for some people, they use racist like, well, yeah, technically everyone has biases and prefers certain things, and
that's why I don't like. That's why I don't like calling everything amazing. Like, it's the same thing. If everything's amazing, nothing's amazing. If everything's racist, nothing is racist. So words lose their power. They're not important.
Amazing.
Fresh Fly Flossie, I don't think you're a dick, by the way, but I just did that to make a point, which is words do matter. And if you call someone a derogatory term that paints them in a certain light, it should matter. And
Calling other people's name?
Everyone should care.
You're calling other people a name to prove a point? That's a dick move. Andy, are you a dick? How does that make you feel?
Dickish. All right, that was good. I'm glad. Thanks for reading this.
There's a bunch more. People want to see them. They can go to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Bros Bibles Beer.
Yeah. And
like and subscribe.
Those are good. Those are wonderful and appreciate it. Yes. Keep the comments coming.
Smash and boop.
And we say it every single time, but if you like this and this is helpful and you thought this is interesting and one other person might find it interesting too.
If you had a salvation experience while listening to this episode, feel free.
We'd be surprised.
I wish I could have said that with a straight face. Dang it.
But share this with one other person, because outside of all the other ways that like and subscribe help and drive the algorithm, that is true. But I think the personal recommendation is the best, and I would much rather grow the podcast that way. And if you guys feel differently, it's too late. I already said it, so it's canon. All right, let's wrap it up, boys. For Zach, Colin, I'm Andy. This is Bros, Bibles, and Beer. Grace?
Cheers. Cheers.
We can't boop that far. That's a boop too far.